Welcome to Canvas Online Discussions, Design Strategies and Essentials. In this portion, we will be discussing why we use discussions, some tips for creating effective prompts, and taking into consideration duration of time for each. So why do we use discussions? Simply put, communication. We communicate naturally in person and don't even think about it sometimes. How can we simulate the same action when the people we are engaging with are not physically present? We can create discussions that prompt course logistical questions, such as Ask the Professor, where students can ask specific or topical questions pertaining to the subject matter. Students can then answer one another's questions to alleviate massive instructor question or email overload. We can create discussions that prompt introductions between students at the beginning of the course to familiarize them with who is in their class. We can create discussions that prompt water cooler style forums where personal or more intimate places for students to interact are available that aren't necessarily course related. And we can create discussions that prompt student interaction and engagement on specific assignments. Now, it is important here that we don't just provide filler assignments for meaningless points, and that we give more structure and guidance for our expectations, having students apply what they've learned in class to an experience they've lived. This makes it more relevant and engaging to them. Before we get into the mechanics of creating a discussion, think about discussion prompts and what makes a good discussion prompt. When writing discussion prompts, things to keep in mind include creating prompts relevant to your course content, making those prompts current, such as something recently in the news, providing evidence or examples from the lesson. Your prompts can be direct and specific if expecting specific answers from students. You want to make sure that you're welcoming all voices to the forum to create an inclusive sense of community and foster the development of trust and respect in the community members. Remind students to respect differences. These include opinions, cultural-based, religion, ethnicity, gender, disability, and more. Make sure that you're designing your questions to provoke critical thinking. Allow for multiple answers or for students to choose a prompt by providing more than one. Encourage your students to reflect and self-monitor. Ask students to create summaries or to apply their own experiences and describe when it is applicable. Establish ground rules for inclusivity. Provide examples of good and poor postings for students. Clarify when and how participants should challenge the ideas of others. Explain your role as the instructor within the discussion forum. And again, remind your students to respect differences. You can explain how student responses should be scored by providing a rubric, and provide other criteria as needed, such as a minimum length, formatting requirements, whether or not they will be required to post their responses before they see those of other students, submission dates, and more. And then finally, consider the duration of your discussion activities. As you schedule your discussions in your class, consider the amount of time it will take to develop a meaningful discussion. Some will take longer than others. Provide guidelines that help students understand when they should make their initial posts and when they should make their responses, if that is a requirement. And assure your students understand their obligations to complete assigned posts on time. Thank you for watching. For more information, please visit clt.odu.edu.